Of all the mighty hunters in the sun-scorched lands of the Southwest and the Mexican deserts, the rattlesnake is the one whose spirit is often feared the most. These serpents with cold blood are fierce to their very soul. They move with the silence of a shadow, can strike faster than a thought, and carry a venom in their fangs that works like a curse upon the blood. Now, imagine holding all that power in your being, your whole existence built on being the feared one, only to be undone and made a fool of by a wild-eyed bird that runs like this. Oh wait, the spirits are showing me the wrong vision. My apologies. I must have a word with my grandson. I mean, my storyteller in training. A bird that runs like times this asterisk. This feathered trickster, with its beak like a flint knife and a body made for speed and turns as sharp as canyon winds, doesn't just conquer the rattlesnake, it makes a complete mockery of it. From snatching it from the earth like a startled mouse to shaking it like a prayer rattle, it turns the whole meeting into a cruel dance of power, before finally swallowing one of the most potent serpents on the land whole, as if it were just a juniper berry. Meet the most impertinent bird of the desert, the Roadrunner. Here is a covey of quail, pecking at the hard ground, their spirits calm and unworried. But listen to my words. They should not be. They do not feel it yet, but a presence is near them, and it carries no good tidings. It is a roadrunner. When it comes to the hunter's art and raw power, a quail's spirit is but a whisper against this desert warrior's shout. The silent, sharp-eyed bird slips behind the fence, moving so softly he could be a wisp of smoke. In moments, he is right behind the flock, who are still too busy with their meal to sense the doom that walks behind them. Then, the strike. The roadrunner bursts from his hiding place and throws himself at the flock, but his aim is not true this time. The quail scatter into the sky like dandelion seeds in a gust, gone before the roadrunner can touch them with his claws. It is a shame he cannot truly fly. If he could, those quail would have had no prayer. It sounds like a great weakness given by the spirits, does it not? A spoiler from this old storyteller. It is not, because what the roadrunner was given instead of wings for soaring is something far more cunning and far more deadly. We will speak of that soon, but first, let us give these strange desert birds the proper introduction they have earned. Geococcix californianus, also called the greater roadrunner, the chaparral bird, the ground cuckoo, or the snake slayer, is a long-legged bird of the cuckoo clan who walks the lands of the southwestern United States and Mexico, making his home in the burning deserts, the tangled brush, and lonely stands of trees, living and thriving there through all seasons. He is a rather large bird for his kind. In his family, he is the biggest of all cuckoos in the Americas, growing to be about 20 to 24 inches long and weighing between 8 to 15 ounces. The males and females of his tribe look almost like twins, though the females are often a little smaller. His body is the color of the earth, brown with streaks of black, with a lighter neck and chest marked by dark lines, and a belly as white as cornmeal. On his head, a small crest of feathers stands up, giving him the look of a proud, scrappy warrior. Unlike his cuckoo relatives, who are known for their command of the winds, these determined birds spend most of their days on the ground. That is their most famous quality, and it is what gives them the name Roadrunner. The reason for this is written in their very bones. They do not have the strong breastbone that holds the great muscles needed for a true bird's flight. Because of this, the Roadrunner's chest muscles are small, and his wings are short and round, with only enough power to hold him in the air for a few heartbeats at a time. But he uses this gift too. This family of hummingbirds has been visiting a sweetwater feeder for some time, and when they gather, they drink and chatter like a council of elders. But all their noise has called the wrong kind of spirit. A roadrunner has seen them and will not leave with an empty belly. The clever bird sets his eyes on the feeder and crouches low. Looking every bit the patient hunter, he chooses his target and waits. Since he cannot ride the wind for long, He waits his turn until one unlucky hummingbird dips just low enough to enter his world. And then it happens. The hunter leaps upward in a short, powerful burst of flight, catching the tiny jewel-like bird in midair and swallowing it whole like a fierce spirit. That said, hunting in the sky is still not the Roadrunner's strongest medicine. His limited flight is a clear challenge. So the Great Spirit balanced this with long, muscular legs that end in what are called zygodactyl feet, while his legs give him the power to run like the wind. The zygodactyl feet, with 2 toes pointing forward and 2 toes pointing backward, form a sacred X shape that gives the bird amazing balance and control as he runs. On top of that, his light, sleek body cuts through the air with little struggle. The long, feathered tail works as a rudder, like one on a canoe. It helps the bird to stop, to balance, and to make sharp turns without losing his forward spirit. To add even more power, the Roadrunner runs with his head and tail held flat with the ground. With this entire design, he can reach a top speed of 42 kilometers an hour, nearly as fast as the swiftest 2-legged runner, and much faster than the common man. That makes him not just the fastest bird on land that can also take to the air, but one of the most tireless hunters in these lands. This means that from insects to the most feared spiders like black widows or tarantulas, to many kinds of scorpions, lizards, centipedes, mice, squirrels, and most of all, different kinds of snakes, including those with the most powerful venom, like rattlesnakes. Nothing can outrun him. The diamondback rattlesnake coils, hissing and singing the song of his tail, entering full battle mode to warn away the approaching Roadrunner. The venomous serpent strikes and strikes again, throwing blow after blow. But the Roadrunner has reflexes as quick as lightning. He dodges every strike with sharp grace, using his long legs to leap and dance. In a few moments, the snake begins to tire, and that is when the Roadrunner changes the song of the dance. With his strong, hooked beak, he stabs at the snake's head again and again, opening deep wounds. Then, in one fierce move, he catches the snake as it strikes, grabs it by the head, and slams it on the rocks below, shattering its bones and beating one of the desert's most feared spirits into silence. Some old cowboy stories from the early 1900s even tell that when a Roadrunner finds a sleeping rattlesnake, it gathers pieces of cactus and builds a fence of thorns around the snake, trapping it. With the snake cornered and unable to move, it would make it even easier for the Roadrunner to finish his work. If the rattlesnake is too large for one bird to face, Roadrunners sometimes hunt as a team. One distracts the snake from the front, teasing out strike after strike and dodging without rest to tire it, while the other sneaks in from behind, pecking at its head until it can finally seize it and end the struggle. Once the hunt is done, the constant slamming against the rock serves another purpose. It makes the body tender and easier to swallow. If the prey is small, the Roadrunner swallows it down in one motion. But if it is a big catch, he swallows it a little at a time. This means the head of the snake might already be in his stomach, while the tail is still hanging from his beak, with the bird working it down piece by piece until the whole creature vanishes into his belly. And it is not just snakes. This Roadrunner here has just caught a mouse. And since it is a little larger than his usual meal, the fierce bird forces it down with violent jerks of his neck, while the victim's tail dangles from his beak. A chilling sight. That does not even begin to describe it. Besides hunting animals, Roadrunners also add nuts and seeds to their diet. And since water is not always easy to find in their desert home, they make up for it by taking the water from the food they eat, keeping their bodies strong against the harsh, dry land. Not only that, Roadrunners have a small, bare patch of skin under their chin that they flutter like a fan to release heat when grandfather's sun burns brightest. But the great heat is not the only challenge of the desert. When the sun goes down, the real danger becomes the cold. To face this, Roadrunners hide themselves behind rocks or in thick plants to block the wind. Then when morning comes, they lay flat on the ground for 2 to 3 hours, turning their backs to the rising sun so it can warm their inner spirits back to life. When they are young, roadrunners spend the first couple of years on their own path. By the time they have seen 2 or 3 years, they find a mate and form a bond that lasts for many seasons. In fact, unlike many other birds or animals, they do not mate only to have young. Mating is also a time of bonding, a bit like what the two-leggeds do. During courtship, a male roadrunner will chase a female, wagging his tail, showing off his agile moves, and bringing her small gifts of food or things for a nest. Anything from straws and feathers to even the shed skin of a snake. Once they have mated, the pair either builds a nest of their own or takes over an empty one, usually from birds like ravens or mockingbirds, where they lay 3 to 6 eggs and guard them for about 20 days until they hatch. From there, for roughly 50 days, the new chicks stay with their parents. But by just 3 weeks old, they are already swift enough to chase down their own food and feed themselves. For centuries, roadrunners have been a part of human wonder and storytelling. Much of it has been just tales. Some Native American tribes believe the roadrunner gave protection from evil spirits. In Mexico, people said it brought babies, much like the white stork was thought to do in lands across the Great Water. In the same way, Anglo settlers on the frontier told tales that roadrunners could guide lost travelers back to the path. That long-held, often misunderstood wonder may have been what sparked the Warner Brothers moving picture in 1949, first called Fast and Furious, which later became the Roadrunner show. In it, a clever coyote tries without end to catch the roadrunner, but the bird always outruns him. It is a funny thing, because in the real world, a coyote can run almost twice as fast as a roadrunner, which makes the story's foundation untrue. Not that a roadrunner could not escape a coyote, but it would not do it by outrunning him. It would simply take a short flight and be out of his reach. Even so, the moving picture made the roadrunner a famous spirit across the U.S., though it also made them a common target of senseless shootings. Beyond that, modern dangers to these birds today include the loss of their lands, the spread of towns, and collisions with cars, since they often run along paved roads and end up close to humans. Despite all that, their numbers as a people remain strong, with over 1 million breeding birds keeping the species safely in the least concerned category on the IUCN Red List, which means it will be quite some time before rattlesnakes finally stop being humbled and battered the way they are right now by these merciless birds. Disrespectful, is it not? Treating the so-called serpent of nightmares like a common plaything. What are your thoughts? Share your wisdom in the comments circle down below. And as always, I will meet you in the next story. Walk in beauty.